Hi, my name is Chris Thomas, and this is my design of the Booker T. Washington Building Plaza, which is currently the new science building in Greensboro, North Carolina, on North Carolina A&T's campus. Some issues present on the site currently are a lack there of drainage, um, being accessible to all, including those that are handicapped, and a lack thereof interaction with the site from passerbyers, students, and staff. On my site inventory, it displays the vehicular circulation, the pedestrian circulation, some of the drainage issues that are on the site, some of the plant material that's on the site, um, like the American hollies and crepe myrtles, the electrical poles and their locations, um, and the lack thereof handicap accessibility, the noise pollution that comes from the generators right near Carver Hall, and the noise pollution that'll come from the football stadium across the street. There are parking lots present around it, but not inside of it. But they don't seem really necessary for the site, as people also park on the street. These are some precedents I based my design strategy on. These are some precedents I based my design strategy on. The Alabama Hall at Tuskegee University is where George Washington Carver conducted the majority of his studies. It's where Booker T. Washington got him a job as a professor. Um, and so that was the inspiration for me naming the new science building the Booker T. Washington building to provide some connection to Carver Hall. I also wanted to use the roundabout with a focal point design strategy. I also wanted to use Tennessee Red Valencia peanuts in my design strategy because of peanuts and their relationship with George Washington Carver. They also help to improve soil as they grow. They provide nitrogen to the soil, which is very necessary to the site as it does have low drainage. Um, it can be planted in the current clay-like soil already present on the site, um, and could be watered using an underground irrigation system in order to prevent pests and other things from trying to get to it. I also wanted to make the fountain sustainable. So in order to do that, it would be catching rainwater and other forms of water and filtering it back through. Could also do that same thing for the irrigation system. I also wanted to add a free expression tunnel, which I got that inspiration from North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's inviting to the site as people get to be creative on it. It would invite people outside of just football games and It would encourage creativity on campus. For my first concept map, I was thinking more rectangular. Um, I was still able to achieve a circular focal point. There's seating, but not a lot. Um, but the reason I didn't really like this concept was because of there wasn't much change to the site. There's a major lack there of biodiversity when it comes to vegetation, and there's too much lawn in the space. My next concept, I looked more curved and circular for a design strategy. I was able to achieve a fun curved path, which would bring one from the sidewalk close to Sullivan Street back towards the building. Um, I was able to achieve a rain garden, which would be accentuated by a perennial garden surrounding it, or three perennial gardens surrounding it. Um, but I didn't ultimately end up choosing this concept because of the dysfunctional paths, where it just wouldn't be used, in the lack thereof seating. For this one, I kind of did a mix between angular and circular. Um, I was able to create functional paths with this one where I would draw people from those walking on the sidewalk on the side of Sullivan Street would be drawn into entrances where it would be like the entrance to the um, little walkway um, connected to the science building or the entrance to the science building itself. I was still also able to create a circular focal point with a statue and water feature there. And ultimately, the reason I didn't pick this design strategy was because of a lack there of seating and a lack there of biodiversity, where there is a lot of lawn space but not a lot of other types of vegetation. Here's my plan view where I was able to combine all of my concepts, get rid of some of the pieces and parts that I didn't really like. I maintained that angular circle design where it would still draw people into the building, but it's also still really fun to walk around. There is brick seating for um, to allocate for adequate capacity for seating, as there people leave football games or while people are congregating while during homecoming. I was able to use the Freedom Expression Tunnel precedent near the brick wall surrounding the utility boxes in front of Carver. Um, and people would be able to like spray paint or paint on them as they will. Um, Framing that canvas in a way would be concrete, which would not be allowed to be painted on, which would hopefully prevent people from painting on the side of Carver. It would just create like a different juxtaposition of materials. Um, I was able to use a lot of vegetation that would be present in rain gardens. Hopefully, trying to get all of that water that was usually presented on that site and create a flood intolerant zone.